Welcome back to our long-form video series here at 11 Tealway. I'm here with Trey Brooks of Brooks Construction and Travis Huber of Zip Systems. We're here today talking about the exterior sheeting and the process of what makes 11 Tealway not only a beautiful home, but something that is very structurally sound. Trey, I'm gonna let you start things off kind of with our process, and then Travis will discuss further on the details.
Yeah, sure thing, I appreciate it. We still continue to be excited about this project, and as we're wrapping up the waterproofing and the exterior sheathing, we've been very, very excited to work with and to continue to work with the Huber products. The Zip products, in my opinion, are the best out there. We've got several details on this project that we'll be happy to show. Travis will be able to kind of talk us through that. Jumping right into it, we did use the Zip R panel. A nice part about that is you're able to have not only a full air barrier, but you also gain a little bit of insulating. All right, so I know we've all heard about rolling zip tape. There's a couple other details that I like to talk about though. Is as we're putting our tape on, something that we're big about is shingle effect. It's where anything from an upper layer overlaps the bottom layer to ensure that if there were to be any kind of water intrusion, that water is able to pass through. And one thing that I actually just learned here from Travis that's interesting and just shows how good Zip products are, is that if you're actually doing this shingle method, it's a best practice. It should be done, but it's something that isn't required by the Zip warranty. Again, let's focus on best practice. This is what we're doing, but this Zip tape itself, I'd like Travis to kind of tell us a little bit about what the tape is, what the material is made out of, and then also an interesting fact of the 4-inch versus the 6-inch tape.
So the 4-inch tape, the standard seam tape, it's an acrylic-based tape, so the adhesion, the adhesive on it is an acrylic base. So whenever you do this, the importance of rolling the tape is because that tape is pressure activated. So when you put that pressure on there, that adhesive wets into that panel. So the texture of the panel is not smooth. So it's kind of wet in to really form that bond. It actually takes 72 hours to fully form that bond, but you can keep going as soon as you will.
You said it takes like 9 pounds of pressure?
9 pounds of pressure is
so you're not over here just like it's just it's a nice just a subtle rolling on, yeah. And then you're covering what you need.
There are Z's on these rollers. I don't look for those as much. You just want to see the texture of the panel coming through the tape. It's kind of what we're looking for here. But these Z's are definitely helpful for the naked eye that's not accustomed to looking at this every day.
Yeah, good deal. And then the 6-inch tape, you were talking a little bit earlier about how they have the binding paper versus non, or?
Correct. So in cases when you're using liquid flash, so they've used liquid flash here to cover all their nail heads. If they were to be using liquid flash over this 4-inch tape at some point, you would need to wipe that with an acetone. The 4-inch tape, because it doesn't have a liner on it, you have to have a way for it to not stick to itself. So there's actually a release agent on this 4-inch tape to allow that. The 6-inch tape, the thicker tapes, the stretch tape, it does not have that because it actually has a liner on it that separates those two so they don't stick together.
It's a good piece of information, and I appreciate you giving me kudos without even thinking about it. That's another thing at BCG that we push on. It's not a requirement for warranty with Zip, but it's something that we view as a necessary step, is we actually go back through and we'll apply the Zip liquid flash over every single nail head. What that allows is, in the event that a nail was potentially overdriven or somebody was not paying as much attention as they needed to, it allows us another level of security and warranty that we're able to provide to our clients, we're able to provide for the home, knowing that if there ever were to be water intrusion, we're truly covered on that. In order to maintain our air barrier, we actually cut our Zip at every rafter tail and took it up to our deck. And then we go back through and we do what we call sewing, which is a fancy way of just putting a caulk line in between the rafters and the roof decking. That's going to help to yet again take into account that interior air quality to ensure that humidity doesn't have a passageway. We are a full foam construction here, so some builders might say, oh, the foam's gonna cover it, it's okay. And in reality, it probably will, but to us, that's another step, just another detail that we want to take into account and make sure that we're providing the best product possible.
Yeah, that's great. Continuing that air barrier all the way through the process from the wall into the roof is a big transition that a lot of people will miss some of those details, and that's where a lot of the leakages occur.
Yeah, exactly. We'll show a little video later as well of a section on, we only have one section of this home that is an air-conditioned room that goes to slab to grade, and what we're taking into account on there is we're actually adding that liquid flash along the bottom level of the Zip and then onto our slab and sewing those together to just ensure that both for bugs and things that we don't want in our homes, and then also that air can't pass through there. It's just accounting for the little details. So.
We're here standing on the front patio. Right here is going to be our dining room, and we're going to talk about the window and the process with Zip.
Yeah, sure thing. So we do have a massive window here. It's actually about 8 foot tall by almost 16 foot wide. But what we're here to talk about is window and window flashing. It's a detail that we want to pride ourselves in, but also I think it's something that on the construction industry itself is becoming a hot topic to talk about, which I think is great because historically, I think residential construction as a whole is very prehistoric. It's something that people really weren't talking about. They would just do the traditional steps and matters and say, hey, that's good enough. Well, it's fortunate we're getting more light on these subjects, and that's why we want to talk about ourselves, to point out the steps and the processes that we want to do to make sure that that's something that not is it going to leak, but when it leaks, it's not a future problem to any kind of owners. So we're going to have a brick facade on this entire wall. So we're going to install what's called a buck block, which will be a 1x4 that goes across the entire bottom, sides, and top. What that does is it helps to put your window out more so that you have a good tight gap with your brick. That does add a little bit of waterproofing that we need to take into consideration. So step one, we're going to install that 1x4. Then we're going to take the zip stretch tape and come all the way over our 1x4. And you said we need to have a full inch of attachment on the panel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we cover the full 1 by and then an inch down onto the panel.
Yeah, full inch down on panel. We'll wrap our way into it, and then we'll be able to install our window. On the sides, we're going to actually do a little bit different detail in that we're going to take the 6-inch tape, wrap around our entire 1x4. We're going to take it just a step further and use a 4-inch zip tape and put it on top of that 6, so we're getting further penetration into the actual window jamb itself. And will you tell us about the difference and why it's important to do the 4 on top of the 6?
Yeah, so again, like we spoke about earlier, the 4-inch tape does have that release agent. So if you're putting the 4 on top of the 6, that 6 does not have that release agent, so it'll adhere properly.
All right, so we'll have our 1x4 all the way around. That 1x4 is going to continue on all 4 sides. The detail we're going to do on the side that I'm quite interested in is we're going to use a 6-inch tape first. That 6-inch tape is going to wrap completely over our 1x4. Again, have a full inch of adhesion to the panel. And then we're going to take it a step further and put 4-inch on top of that 6 so we get further penetration into our window jamb. For our top detail, it's similar but a little bit different. What we'll do is we'll have that 6-inch tape, again, wrapping over our buckboard, or the 1x4, but then we're going to cut it at the bottom. That allows any water that gets in there to be able to weep around the window. Now, once we install the window, then we're going to put our tape on the sides, and you always need to make sure that the top tape is the last step that you do. We personally, we will not tape the bottom flange of a window. That's again, just recognizing that there is a potential, that there's a likelihood of water getting behind there, and we want it to be able to weep thoroughly out from the window.
Yeah, and then one step further that you're even going on there too is after you install you've taped your flashing or your flanges of your window, you're adding that stretch tape in the corners to tie it all in together.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good point because the top corners of your window are your most likely to leak. So it's built on what Travis said. We'll take the piece of the stretch tape and we're going to go at a 45-degree angle, about 10 inches long, over that corner, just offering that little bit of extra protection.
And taking a step out of the technical details, I mean, just having Travis here, taking a look at everything is just going one step further in our building process to make sure that we're hitting every little detail that a typical builder wouldn't do.
A really positive day. We had a lot of fun with Travis. Again, thank you for coming out. It was cool to walk through the steps we're doing. As a builder, we try to do our best. Our intentions are always there to capture every detail. But having really an industry professional come and confirm that, and really I learned some stuff today too, so it was a lot of fun. So I do want to pass it to Travis so he can just tell us a little bit of the background with Zip, just fill us in on it.
Yeah, so Zip, I mean, we're owned by Huber Engineered Woods. Huber Corporation is a family-owned company. I believe we're on our 6th generation of family, roughly 300 family members that do that. So we pride ourselves on taking care of everybody as if it was a family. We did invent the premium OSB space. So branching off of that, creating Zip. We also make the Advantech subfloor that was used in the home. Same technology goes into the Zip panel with the MDI resins that we use to help make it a stronger panel and more water resistant. So it's just, we're always about quality and making sure we put the best product out there for everybody.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that is our ideology as well, as quality and trying to put the best product. Hence why we pair well together. So thank you. I appreciate
Yes,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Travis.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.